إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد Alhamdulillah, we continue going over this tremendous piece of advice that the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan he delivered. And this advice is advice to the Muslim women. It's advice to the Muslim women. We had stopped in last week's class at the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was a part of the homework, was that this ayah was to be memorized. And that is that ayah that is found in Surah Al-A'raf in its verse 189, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ مِن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ, that He is the one who created you from a single soul. وَجَعَلَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا, and He made from that soul its mate. He made from that soul its mate. لِيَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا, so that he may live with her. So that he may live with her. This ayah is tremendous and is one that I hope as the students were going over their homework, they contemplated over it and thought deeply about it, and that they reflected over its meaning. There is a lot of hikmah in this ayah. Imam al-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned some points of the hikmah. As he mentioned, rahimahullah ta'ala, لأنها إذا كانت منه حصل بينهما من المناسبة. He said, because since the mate is from him, then they will be able to achieve by way of it a suitability. A suitability. wal mawafaqa, and they can have an agreement, they can see some agreement, yani to the end of that. There's a lot of benefit in this, a lot of benefits. This is a ni'mah that many people, they don't reflect on. They don't take advantage of this bounty. A bounty that many people, they don't realize its value. They don't realize the value of this bounty. And that is reflective and illustrative in their understanding or their outlook on marriage. Because the way that the male and the female will come together in such a relationship, then that is in the relationship of marriage. Now, there's no alternative yet. It's only the relationship of marriage. So when an individual really understands the depth and the scope of the bounties and of the wisdom of this ayah, then he will better appreciate the bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had bestowed upon him. And the more he appreciates this bounty, or the more she appreciates this bounty, then you will see this illustrated inside of their appreciation for marriage. And specifically, the appreciation that they will have for their marriages, for those who are married. That they will have an appreciation for this institution, and in particular, they will have an appreciation for their marriage. It is unfortunate that you find in today's society that marriage has become something that is cheap. Amongst the kuffar, this is clearly understood and needs no further elaboration. But even amongst the Muslims, those who still have a concern to get married, many of them that were reared inside of the non-Muslim societies, they don't give marriage the respect that is due. And this is why it is like something that is cheap for them. Even with those who honor and see the importance of marriage, and we're speaking about Muslims in the Western societies, now, they see it as something that is cheap, meaning it is easy for them to just let this marriage go and then go and try to get another. Now, so that is an indication that in their minds they see it as what? Something that it's not worth fighting for. We'll just get another. No problem. Let this one go and get another. Why? Why is it like that? Except that this is illustrative of some deeper diseases and deeper problems. When we mean deeper diseases of the heart. Deeper diseases of the heart. Now, and the casualties that these diseases of the heart have reaped upon the marriages inside of the Western communities is beyond devastating and beyond sad. Ala kulli hal, so that we, inshallah ta'ala, those of us who are married and those of us who have yet to be married, can have a better appreciation and understand the value of marriage and how precious it is and how expensive it is. Al-Allama Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he says, فَالْحِكْمَةِ فِي ذَلِكَ, speaking about the ayah 189 from Surah Al-A'raf. Shaykh Fawzan, he says, فَالْحِكْمَةِ فِي ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَجْلِ أَنْ يَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا. He said the wisdom for this is so he could live with her. So that he could live with her. And this is tremendous, yani. This is tremendous. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Imam Juyaanee, he pointed out, so that there is compatibility, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only made the mate, for that soul, as Allah ta'ala, He says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ, that Allah created you from one soul. So not only did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make for that soul a mate, but He made that mate from that soul. You understand? He made the mate from the soul. So not only is it for the soul, but it was what? From the soul. So that there is a complete compatibility. Wal muwafaqa, an agreement. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَجَعَلَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا, and He made from it its mate. Why? So that they may detest one another, be repelled from one another, be disgusted with one another. No. Allah Ta'ala says, لِيَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا, so as to live together with her. Now, I want us to remember this and really reflect and take some admonition, inshallah ta'ala. The Shaykh, he says, and the wisdom from that, why the mate was made from that soul, مِنْ أَجْلِ أَنْ يَسْكُنَ إِلَيْهَا, so that he may live with her. وَيَأْنَسَ بِهَا وَيَطْمَئِنَّ إِلَيْهَا, so that he may live with her, he may cohabit with her, and that he may find ease and rest. Naam, they may find ease and rest with his mate. And this is something that I want us all to reflect on. And these are things that we can help to do to better our marriages. Is to make sure that we are instilling an environment of ease, an environment of relaxation. So our relationships shouldn't be relationships that are tense, built upon tension. A person shouldn't feel like they can't even speak to their spouse because of the responses that may come or what have you. A person shouldn't be made to feel like this. This is part of the problems that exist in some marriages, is where you have individuals and they feel like they can't even speak to their spouse. They can't even speak to their significant other because of their response, be it with an attitude, be it, the tone of it, or whatever the case may be of the response. It deters them from even saying something that will necessitate a response. So what do? They keep it into themselves and they hold it to themselves and they have no outlet, right? And then what happens is that something will happen and that'll be the last straw. That is, under that straw is so many other straws, and then it blows up. It's like a volcano, it blows up. And the person's wondering, where's all this coming from? Because there's something lacking in the communication. There's something lacking in this. Look at what Sheikh Fawzani mentions. He says, وَيَطْمَئِنَّ إِلَيْهَا فِي أَسْرَارِهِ وَفِي أُمُورِهِ, so that he may find comfort in her as relates to his secret affairs, as relates to his secrets, and as relates to his affairs, his issues, the things that he's going through. You understand? So that is his support. That's his support system. So I want everyone to reflect and to think and to ask yourself. I want all the sisters to ask themselves, is your husband your support system? And I want the brothers to reflect and ask themselves, is your wife your support system? If the answer is yes, alhamdulillah, increase upon that. Increase upon the aspects on why that is like that, and then try to better them. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing you in such a beautiful situation. However, if we find that this is not the case, then I want us to examine why. How come my spouse is not my support system? If you have to write it down, write it down. Literally. If you have to write it down on a piece of paper, write it down. If it's a list, write down the list. Why? And then I want you to try to fix that. I want you to try to fix it. I want you to work on fixing those things, those hindrances, and why that's not the case. Because it should be the case. Shaykh Fawzan, ta'ala, he mentions, he says, لِتَعِينَهُ عَلَى مَشَاقِ الْحَيَاةِ, to aid him and to help him upon the difficulties of life. To aid him and to help him upon the difficulties of life. And the reverse is also said, also understood, so that he may aid her upon the difficulties of life. Because everyone in life, not all good times. Some up. You have ups, your lows, your ups, your downs, easy time, hard time, so on and so forth. But who is that one that's supposed to help you? Or from the people that should be helping you through these ups and downs and so on and so forth? Is your spouse, is your wife, or is your husband? For the women. Na'am. وَيَنْشَأُ مِنْهُمَا ذُرِّيَّةٌ صَالِحَةٌ, and so that from the two, right, they may come righteous children. From the two, they may come righteous children. You understand? The relationship between the husband and the wife is a very important aspect in rearing righteous children. And I want everyone to reflect upon it. That having bad relationships between the wife and the husband, this will be a hindrance in raising your children righteously. It will have an adverse effect upon the upbringing of your children. And I'll bring to you just one example or one aspect on why this is the case and how problems between the husband and the wife adversely affect the rearing of the children. Is that human beings, when they go through whatever it is they go through, they look for outlets. They look for outlets to help them deal with the situation. Now, if your spouse is not your outlet to help you deal with the situation because your spouse is proverbially a part of the problem, you understand? So then you're going to look for outlets outside of the spouse. So that outlet outside of the spouse, for the men, it may be an outlet that takes you outside of the home. Now you want to hang out with your brothers and spend more time with your brothers. Why? Because you don't want to go home because you got no peace at home. So if you're always missing, if you're not there because you're hanging out, drinking coffee and sipping on shea, right, drinking tea, then how's that not going to adversely affect the upbringing of your children if you're not there to help raise them? If you're not there to help show them right from wrong, to give them any examples, to give them words of wisdom and so on and so forth, teach them the ropes. If you're not around because the relationship repels you away from the house, how is it not going to adversely affect the upbringing of the children? And then on the flip side, the sister may do the same. Where every event comes, she finds an excuse to go. Sister's doing this, sister doing that. Oh, this one, he had a baby. That one, oh, she did. Not saying that it's not good to help your sisters. Now, I'm not saying that. No way. It's good to help your sisters. But helping her sisters now has become her excuse to get out the house. What? To get away from him. That's become her excuse. Get away from him. You understand? How is this not going to adversely affect the upbringing of the children? If a person is all stressed out because of the likes of this situations, how is that not going to adversely affect the upbringing and rearing of the children? So all of these things, they are vital. They are vital to the Muslim community, as we will come to see, inshallah ta'ala. These things, these aspects, they are vital for a strong Muslim community. So we have to start working on enhancing the relationship that we have with our spouses, and also repairing anything that needs to be repaired from those relationships. We have to make this a priority. We have to make this a priority. Don't try to drown it out by resorting to this distraction or that distraction. No. Deal with it. Work on it. Make it better. enhance the situation. Enhance the situation. Now, wait. The way that it is, and from the blessings of marriage, and from the amazing aspects of marriage, which shows us from another angle, the blessing, the great blessing of marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in this ayah, this also will be for this week's homework. It can be found in Surah Ar-Rum. Surah Ar-Rum. And it's verse 21. Verse 21 from Surah. What? Which Surah? That pause was for you to say. Which Surah? Ar-Rum. Now, from Surah Ar-Rum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and from His signs. And from His signs. From the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Allah ta'ala, He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. And from His signs is that He has made from you your spouses. And from His signs, from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that He has made from you your spouses. That He has made our spouses from us and for us. Na'am. Limada? Why? Allah Ta'ala, He says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you may live and cohabitate with her. So that you may live and cohabitate with her. And Imam Sa'di, he gave us some understanding of what is meant by and live with her. And Allama Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he has given us some indication, the wisdom of what it means to live with her. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show us the value of marriage, how precious it is, how expensive it is. Allah ta'ala, He says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And He has made between you all, between the spouses, what? Love and mercy. Love and mercy. Na'am. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts love and mercy between the spouses. Na'am. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts love and mercy between the spouses. Na'am. So spouses, or you husbands, or you wives, don't mess this up. Don't mess that up by way of your sins. Don't mess that up because of your bad behavior. Don't ruin that. Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says, فَهَذَا مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ. He said, this is from the signs of Allah. Because this is something that is beautiful. This is something that is a sign, something that we should contemplate over. You understand? It's something we should contemplate over. This is from the signs of Allah that point us to what fact? The Shaykh, he says, علامات الدالة على قدرته سبحانه ورحمته وعلى استحقاقه للعبادة وحده لا شريك له. He said that this is from the signs that point to the ability of Allah, glory be He. The ability of Allah, glory be unto Him, and how above and far removed is He from all and any type of deficiencies and imperfections. And it is a sign of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that He puts love and He puts mercy between the spouses. He puts love and He puts mercy between the spouses. And all of this points us to the fact of what? All of this points us to the fact that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only Allah deserves to be worshipped alone without any partners. Only Allah deserves to be worshipped alone without any partners. Because only Allah can do this. Only Allah can do these things. Only Allah can put that love and mercy between the spouses. Only Allah can do that. So this here shows us that what? La ilaha illallah. None has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, for those who are married and for those who are not married, I just want to stress, please pay attention. Please pay attention to what Al-Allama, Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan is presenting. The Shaykh, he says, وَاللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى كَوَّنَ الْمُجْتَمِعَ الْبَشَرِ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has made the society, made the human society from men and women. The human society is built with men and women. Built with men and women. You understand? And just from this aspect of knowing this, maybe we'll understand better how the relationships of the husband and the wife, and from that which springs out from it, will either have a positive or negative effect on society as a whole. You understand? It will either have a positive or negative effect on society as a whole. And I'll just let you contemplate on that, and inshallah ta'ala, you will see some aspects of this on how if the family, if the families, the vast majority of the families in the land are in good condition, then that would be positively illustrated inside of the society as a whole. Whereas if it ain't bad conditions, broken families, a multitude of single mothers, right, so on and so forth, then we already know the situation. We already know how many of adolescent delinquency and so on and so forth is linked to what? Broken families. Is linked to broken families. Inshallah, a little was mentioned, more will be understood. Ala kullin, that the society is made up of men and women. Now, Qala ta'ala, Allah ta'ala, He says, and this is another part of your homework. There's another one that I want written down inside of the notebook where all of the texts are written for each chapter. For each section, all the texts are written. So this will be the next ayah to write in that section. And whatever you have is written in that section from the ayat, I want them all memorized. All of them. All of them memorized. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Ya ayyuhan nas, all human beings. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing all human beings. All of them. All the human beings. Ya ayyuhan nas, all human beings. Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'il lita'arafu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, all human beings, all mankind, indeed we created you from a male and from a female, and made you into nations and tribes. Made you into nations and tribes. Why? For what purpose were we made into nations and tribes? Right? Allah Ta'ala, He says, لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you may know one another. So that you may get to know one another. You understand? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so as to show us that us being made into nations and tribes was not so as to say that this tribe or this nation is superior to that tribe and that nation, and for vying and competing upon these terms. No. But He made us into tribes and nations so that we may get to know one another. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that the nobility, that being the best, is not linked to the tribes and the nations. But it's something that everyone is on equal footing as relates to it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Allah ta'ala says that verily the most noble of you with Allah is the one who has the most taqwa, is the one who has the most fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who has the most fear of Allah, the one who is the most pious, the one who is the most obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who has the least amount of sins and is the furthest away from sins. This is the one who is better. It's not contingent upon where he's from, what language he speaks, what color he is, the texture of his hair. No. The color of his eyes. No. Nothing to do with nothing. It's nothing to do with anything. What makes a person better or worse is what? Is the amount of taqwa, the amount of piety, of fear he has for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? And you know, right? Everyone, when they hear this ayah, they say, yeah, this is the haqq. This is true. Nah. But then when they go and seek for marriage, right? We don't see this illustrated. We don't see their acknowledgments illustrated in how they go about getting married. We don't even see their acknowledgement illustrated in those who they even accept as candidates for marriage. Allah musta'an. يخبر Imam Sa'di, he says, يخبر تعالى أنه خلق بني آدم من أصل واحد. He says that Allah has informed us that Allah the Most High has informed us that He created the children of Adam from one source. Their foundation, their source is one. It's one. وجنس واحد. From one species. One source, one foundation, is one. كلهم من ذكر وأنثى. All of us. The Imam, he says all of them. I'm saying all of us. I'm saying all of us is from what? Is from one man and one woman. All of us. No matter how we have splintered after that, right? When we go back and 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 go back, then what? The branches get littler and littler. The number of branches decreases until what? Until we go back to one origin, one foundation, and that is what? One man, one woman. To our father Adam and our mother Hawa, alayhimus salatu wassalam. وَيَرْجِعُونَ جَمِيعُهُمْ إِلَى آدَمْ وَحَوَاء. And all of them, they go back to Adam and Hawa. All of them. The black ones, the white ones, the Asian ones, the Hispanic ones, the ones with these color eyes, those color eyes, this texture here, that texture here, whatever. All go back to Adam wa Hawa. The Imam, he says, وَلَكِنْ Allah Ta'ala بَثَّ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً. He said, but Allah has made from both of them many men and women. From them has come many men and women. And this is true from the signs of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Our origin is one. From our father Adam and our mother Hawa. Na'am. From our father Adam and our mother Hawa. Our origin is one. But from that one, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, لأن Allah huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, because Allah is upon everything most capable. Allah Ta'ala has made all of this diversity, All of this diversity comes from what? From one source. Because Allah is over everything, most capable. Allah can do anything, yani. Right? Wait. And this is a sign of what? Of the power and the might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That from one source, He brought all of this, different types from one source. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. وَفَرَقَهُمْ وَجَعَلَهُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلٍ. And Allah Ta'ala, He has dispersed us. He has dispersed the offspring of Adam and our mother Hawa. And He has made us into nations and into tribes. He has made us into nations and into tribes. Why? So we may fight one another. So we may vibe with one another. So we may have animosity and enmity towards one another. No. Because in essence, what sense would it make for you to have animosity and enmity when both of your origin is one? You understand? When you go back far enough, both of your origins is one. You come from the same place. So how you have an animosity with enmity for one another? For what? We all go back to Adam. Right? We all go back to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and our father Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he was from what? He was from turab. He was from dirt. He was from dust. So then, what's the issue? So we were made into nations and into tribes. Why? Imam Husayni, he mentions, he reiterates, he says, وَذَلِكَ لِأَجْلِ أَنْ يَتَعَارَفُوا. He said, and this is so that we may get to know one another. مِنْ أَجْلِ أَنْ يَتَعَارَفُوا. So they may get to know one another. لِأَنَّهُ فَإِنَّهُ. He says, because verily, لَوْ اسْتَقَلَّ كُلُّ وَاحِدْ مِنْهُمْ بِنَفْسِهِ. If everyone were to stay isolated unto himself, if everyone became an introvert to himself, he stayed by himself, نعم, لم يحصل بذلك التعارف. He will not be able to get to know one another. He will not be able to get to know one another. نعم. So this is not the purpose, and this is, a person may understand from the saying that human beings are social creatures. Human beings are social creatures. Now, we haven't been created to what? To be isolated just by ourselves, stuck in somewhere, living like a hermit and all like that. Nah. Human beings, it necessitates what we interact with one another. That we interact with one another. Now, so we may get to know one another. So if a person just stuck to himself, then he wouldn't be able to establish this getting to know of one another. That which from getting to know one another, then what? Then we will have support. We will have help, aid, and assistance upon what the difficulties that we may be going through. We may have help, aid, and assistance on the difficulties that we may be going through. Something as simple as having individuals to help you lay the foundation for your house. Because it's not a one-man job. Okay? Having someone help you to lay the foundation of your house too. Having someone help you to deal with the heartaches and heart pains and difficulties of life. Now, the trials and tribulations that come, someone to help you in the community to help you deal with that. So, from the benefits of getting to know one another, is that what? We can have aid. We can have help, assistance. وتعاون, cooperation. نعم. والقيام بحقوق الأقارب, and so that we may establish the rights of the relatives. And this is from the benefits of getting to know each other and getting to know the families and the tribe and the lineage, for lack of a better term. This is a better term. The lineage. Getting to know the lineage. Why? What's the importance of knowing the lineage? So I can brag what my forefather did? No, forget all that. Because what he did. Alhamdulillah. What he didn't do. That's on him. Now, what that got to do with me? Nothing. So even in that, it's a disconnect. Really, it's a disconnect. That people will place emphasis on this when in reality it has very little bearing on your current situation. So it's a waste of time even to put too much time in it from that aspect. So the aspect of knowing the lineage is not from the aspect of boasting and bragging about what the forefathers and all that type of stuff. No. But it's for what? What is the benefit that is gained from it?
What is the benefit that helps us right here and right now? Is so what? Is so by learning our lineage, we're able to learn who are our close relatives. You understand? Who are our close relatives? This was grandpa so-and-so, he had this amount of kids, so therefore these kids from uncle so-and-so, and he came this and these are the... So what? So we get to know one another. So that we could establish each other's rights. So we could establish each other's rights. You understand? Knowing who the relatives are, so that you may treat them as such. You may treat them accordingly. You may establish the rights. The rights to your kith and to your kin. It's for these reasons. You understand? Not for the standpoint of nationalism or racism or tribalism. None of this has anything to do with the deen of Islam whatsoever. It's so that we may know one another, get to know one another, so we may establish the rights, establish each other's rights, so we may help one another. Now, ولكن Allah جعلهم شعوبا, but Allah has made them into nations, وقبائل, into tribes, لأجل أن تحصل بهذه الأمور وغيرها مما يتوقف على التعارف وبحقوق الأنساب. So Allah Ta'ala has made us into tribes and nations, so that we may establish these affairs, and other than these affairs, that which is restricted, or that which what it all stems back to, so we may know one another, so that we may establish the rights. So that we may establish the rights of kith and kin, we may establish the rights. Now, by knowing who is our close family members, we know who we can and can't marry. You understand? We know who we can and can't marry. But we know who to extend a helping hand to, and so on and so forth. We know who to treat with the level and the respect, and who has the right of kinship upon us, so we may establish that right. This is the benefit of knowing that, not so we may violate one another, not so that we may be bigoted to one another, whether that is a bigotry that stems from colorism. Nah, or this one is not my complexion, or we like the light ones, not the dark ones, or we like the dark ones, not the light ones, or forget all that. This stuff is from Jahiliyyah. It's not from Islam. It's not from Islam. This one is from that place, this one from that place, so therefore, because you're from there and I'm from here, we can't like each other. No, that's from Jahiliyyah. That is not from Islam. Racism, tribalism, nationalism, colorism, all of this is from Jahiliyyah. This is not from Islam. This is not from Islam whatsoever. And like we said, a person, he'll say, yeah, we agree to 100%. Okay. We'll check back in with you when it's time for you to get married. We'll check back in with you when it's time for your daughter to get married. We'll check back in and see who you even acknowledge as a candidate and who you don't acknowledge as a candidate, and why. And we'll see. You'll see. على كل حال, Imam al-Sa'di, he says, ولكن الكرم بالتقوى, he says, but the nobility is where? The nobility is in taqwa, those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where the nobility is. This is where the nobility it is. Now, not in racism, tribalism, colorism, nationalism, to the end. No, but it's in fear. Who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's in who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فاجتماع الرجال أو في استماع الرجل والمرأة على العلاقة الشرعية من نعم الله سبحانه وتعالى. So the coming together of a man and a woman upon the legislative relationship and connection, this is from the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لأنه يترتب عليه مصالح عظيمة, because upon the man and woman coming together, we're having the legislative connection. Now, the legislative connection in marriage. You understand? This bounty, it brings with it much benefits, extreme benefits. Woman, أهمها, and from the greatest of these benefits, what? بناء المجتمع وتكوين الأسر والعمارة البيوت, is that the society is built upon this foundation. The families are built upon, or are made up from this. And the establishment of the households are made up from this. فَهَذَا مِنْ نِعْمِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. And this is from the bounties of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is from the bounties of Allah Azza wa Jal. I want us to reflect, inshallah ta'ala, upon the subject. And inshallah ta'ala, we're going to end with this, because I don't want to take up too much of your precious time. But I want us to reflect on the subject of this particular kalima that the Shaykh he gave, advice to the Muslim woman, right? And then I want us to look at the tone of the Shaykh. Look at how the Shaykh is presenting in these first few paragraphs. And how the Shaykh is speaking about the building of societies and enrichment of societies and the health of a society, and so on and so forth. All of these beautiful things, right? And then I want us to reflect on who we're talking about. I want us to reflect on who we're talking about, because in that is a great lesson which shows you the value of the Muslim woman, the value of the Muslim woman, and how she is honored and she is noble. You understand? How she is precious. She is precious. She is valuable. She is essential. She is essential. She is too important, right? Because from the greatest means of rectification for a society, and inshallah ta'ala, I hope everyone was able to pick up on that fact, right? From what the Shaykh he presented, that from the greatest means of rectifying a society is by what? Is the rectification of the woman. The rectification of the woman. So the Muslim woman, if a person wants to know how do the Muslims view their women, then they're beyond precious. They're beyond precious. They are so important. Their value is so high. And it's important that we remember this, that we remind our daughters of this, and that we let the world know this. That from the greatest means of rectifying society is from rectifying the women. Inshallah ta'ala, نتوقف هنا. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll stop at this point. And we'll pick up from here in the next class, inshallah ta'ala. فنكتفي بهذا القدر. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وجزاكم الله خيرا.